Hi, hello, howdy, and how are you? Hi, it's Rick Kamla. Yo, boy. It is the Fantasy NBA today, and we are here on day 3 of NBA free agency. And you may be saying, dude, why are you rocking a football jersey for a basketball show? Good question. First of all, it's Marshall Faulk, okay? If you don't know, you better ask somebody about Marshall Faulk, one of the great players in NFL history, one of the greatest fantasy players in any fantasy sport. And I'm wearing a football jersey because I just completed a podcast with the great John Mazalis. He's one of our colleagues here at Sports Ethos. You can check out his work, sportsethos.com, or you can go to sportsethos.com, and we would love it if you subscribe to our fantasy football draft guide, which has John's fingerprints all over it, and he's absolutely brilliant. And we had a great time on that podcast. So go ahead and follow at Ethos Fantasy NFL and at Rick Kamla Sports. Soon I'll be retweeting that show on my timeline. I think it may already be on my timeline with some retweets. But yeah, your boy does NFL. You guys know I do WNBA. I do MLB. I got this thing covered. You know, I don't do hockey. I don't do golf. I don't do NASCAR. But I've got some versatility to my game. So shout out to Marshall Faulk as we get in here to the Fantasy NBA today, and a whole lot of news and a whole lot of love for our great sponsor, Bet Online. They continue to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. And with baseball in full swing, football season around the corner, Bet Online has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting from MLB, UFC, tennis, NFL futures. Bet Online remains your choice for sports wagering info. So look them up. In between games, relax. Head over to the Bet Online Casino. All the top Vegas-style games, including poker and a live casino. Head to the website, betonline.com today, and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. I like cash boosts. Bet Online, the game starts here. A little word to the wise. If you are watching us live on Twitter or X, we appreciate that. But a heads up for you, not every offseason episode is going to be available on this platform. Make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed so you can catch every episode and stay in the loop with me and Dr. A and Aaron Brewski and the whole gang here. A little bit of breaking news, and then we're going to get into the signings that went down in between yesterday's show and today's show. Jaren Jackson Jr., this is a buzzkill. In a live basketball run on Monday, suffered a turf toe injury in his right foot, and it required a procedure, as in surgery, as in scalpels, plastic gloves, blood, probably a little morphine on the back end of that for JJJ. That was on the back end of my ACL surgery. And then, the recovery and the rehab and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm not into pharmaceuticals, just in case but the pain is pretty severe at that particular point in time. Nevertheless, this is a massive, massive buzzkill in an otherwise, I would say, productive and interesting offseason for Memphis. I mean, I think overall, you trade Bane, you're a loser. Not like you're a, like that, but like, winner, loser of the offseason. You traded Bane. I wouldn't have traded Bane. And now you have this with Jaren Jackson Jr. He may or may not be able to start the regular season on time. It's very, very dicey at this point. I asked AI, which you would think is Andre. That's Andre GPT. That's Algorithm Andre, the great Andre Lemouche. And we call him AI. He's got he's the man with a million nicknames. But I asked AI, okay? And AI told me that recovery from turf toe surgery typically takes between 3 to 6 months, but can extend up to 12 months in some cases. I don't think that this is going to be a year injury for Jaren. I mean, he'd missed the entire season. Like that's not going to happen here. But let's say it's the long run here and it's 6 months out. Okay, well, that means he probably misses the first 2 months of the regular season. 6 months out basically takes us to Christmas. All right, so, turn of the year kind of thing. Hopefully it's more on the 3 month side, but it might not be. So it's touch and go here. And frankly, I think it's going to make Jaren Jackson Jr. quite a value in fantasy basketball drafts, because if word comes out, he's probably going to miss the first month and a half. But that's a target zone for me. Dude, I'll make it work with asshats off the waiver wire. And then boom, I'm adding Jaren Jackson Jr. mid-flow. Hello. That's how you win championships is getting that value boost And then, with the help of me and Doc and Brew, we'll guide you through, waiver wire stuff. You'll be able to piecemeal a lily pad hop and make it work until you get JJJ back. So I'm looking at it as a value strike here with JJJ if he doesn't start the season on time. Santi Aldama, his value continues to rise here. With the Zach Edey injury, he had ankle surgery. He's not going to start the season on time. Santi Aldama is going to be a hot shot at the beginning of the season. That's probably all you need to do. Draft Jaren Jackson Jr., and then late in your draft, just draft Santi, and then you'll have Santi until Jaren comes back. So there you go. All right, moving on here to Jalen Williams. This tough guy, J-Dub, recent NBA champion, underwent successful wrist surgery, will be reevaluated in approximately 12 weeks. 12 weeks is 3 months. 3 months is the beginning of September, okay? We know that media day and the whole thing opens up late September. So we have a month of wiggle room there. And then we have another month of ramp up to the regular season. Do we have a full month? So we get September. You got about 3 weeks in October. So he's got about 7 weeks of wiggle room off of the evaluation point with the ramp up and to finish his recovery and to be ready for the start of the season. Frankly, he might not start the season on time. But I don't think, if he doesn't start the season on time, I don't think he'll miss much. Maybe a week or two. And again, if that's the case, it's going to drop his value down maybe just enough where you get him a round or two later than maybe ADP or where you previously thought he should go. But like Trey Murphy, these guys, I look at them as value guys because they're not going to miss the whole year. They're going to miss a chunk of the year, but they will be back. And when they're back, they're going to be rock stars. Again, that it's a championship formula for how to build a team. Is to have those guys waiting in the wings, and then you just drop them in on everybody. Hey, how about a dose of J-Dub, yo? That kind of thing, and it'll really work out for your team. Let's get into some signings here. The biggest news in the NBA right now is the Damian Lillard stuff. I still can't believe the Bucks waived him. They stretched his 113 left on his deal over 5 years. Damian Lillard is going to get annuity payments over these 5 years from the Bucks. The Bucks have basically ruined their books. They'll be 22.5 in the hole cap-wise every year for a dead man. And I say that just like a dead man on their ledger, right? I mean, Damian Lillard, obviously very much alive, thank God. But that's just dead money. It's like an NFL thing. The Bucks literally did an NFL thing. NFL teams will cut a guy with a ton of money left on his deal, and they'll stretch it out and chop it up, and they'll take cap hits out in the future and stuff like that. This is a very NFL-esque move, and frankly, it feels unprecedented. Guys have been, waived and stretched and all this kind of stuff, but a guy like Damian Lillard, a max guy, a first ballot Hall of Famer, an all-time great, okay, and to stretch over 5 years, again, I've just never seen this before, and I'm not a fan. Giannis reportedly not a fan, but this is what they did, okay? So now Damian Lillard is a free agent, and he will be signed. And will he play this year? Probably not. But I would belly up to this bar. I would get him and rehab him. And then, bam, I have Damian Lillard. And I have the future Hall of Famer. Folks, I will give you one guess. I got a little game show action for you here, okay? I know it's a terrible game show song. Fake Shaq, how was it? Kamla, that sucked. It did. It actually, in fact, did. By the way, I was playing to some DJs last night, practicing drums. And I put on Guerrilla Warfare, the 2003 rap release by Shaq Diesel. Shaq, that's quite the album, dude. Thank you, Kamla Juice. I will say this. Congas do not go with Guerrilla Warfare, Shaq, with the it's awesome. I'm into it. Okay. But I can't put drums over that, right? Because the beats are too frenetic and chaotic. Am I right, Shaq, or am I wrong? No, Kamla, you're spot on. Your drumming sucked to my songs last night. Indeed it did. I went 3 songs and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do it. I'm a conga player. I'm a percussionist. There's some stuff that's just perfect for percussion, and there's some stuff where it doesn't fit, like heavy metal, right? Percussion and heavy metal, they really don't collide very well. Okay, but I do love Shaq's work up there on stage as a DJ. Back to our story here. Trivia question. I'm going to give you one guess. The Damian Lillard sweepstakes are on. Several teams are interested. Several teams are being reported as interested in Dame. I'll give you one guess as to the first team, the most prominent team mentioned in the Damian Lillard chase. Do you have your answer? If it's not the Miami Heat, where have you been? You haven't been paying any attention. Okay. Of course it's the Miami Heat. I've joked about this for years, going back to NBA radio on Sirius XM, all my shows with Doc and Brew. Every single time a big name comes available, you can literally bet your man parts that the Miami Heat will be the first name mentioned. Kevin Durant's available. All these guys are available. Damian Lillard's available. I'm telling you right now, Zion Williamson, New Orleans, bam, Miami's in on Zion Williamson. Maybe Pat Riley's not in on Zion. You get my point, though. So Miami, these are the teams being linked to Dame in terms of interest. Miami, duh, although it does make sense. I will grant you that. They do need a point guard. And a third badass, right, with Bam and Hero. I mean, I would love Lillard to Miami. Give me a break. The Blazers. I don't really see the need. I don't. You've got Drew Holiday. You've got Scoot Henderson. You're going to add Dame to that? And he's going to go back to Portland after the exit. I kind of don't see that happening. Golden State, okay? Like, it's a bit of a double up with him and Steph, but I would go there if I were Golden State. Why not? He's a Bay Area guy. He grew up a Warriors fan. There's been talk about Dame joining the Warriors and merging with Curry. Two of the top 10 shooters of all time. Dame, where does he rank? I mean, Curry's number one. Where does Dame rank? He's somewhere in the top 10. If you want to talk about clutch shooting, like big shot shooting, Dame may even be higher than Steph on that list in terms of like ending playoff series with 2 buzzer beaters, right? Like Steph, love him. I mean, come on, he's Steph. But Steph hasn't done that. And Steph does not have as many game-winning buzzer beaters and like game-winning, just late-game effing daggers as Damian Lillard, right? Like, to me, Damian Lillard and Reggie Miller are the goats of the late-game shot, of just like, oh, my God, he did it again. This fucking guy. Like, Reggie Miller back in the day, guys, I'm telling you, this cat, it was automatic, dude. It was automatic. And the other team knew, if Reggie Miller's coming off a down screen, catches that rock at the top, 3, 2, 1, you knew it was going in. You had to keep Reggie from getting the rock, and good luck with that. He's one of the best movers and always slithery, and kind of like Rip Hamilton and Steph. They just run. Reggie Miller was that guy. Just ran like the wind. I mean, to get open and to free himself and to gain separation and stuff. Tremendously conditioned athlete. But if Reggie got that rock and was able to turn, he didn't even need to have his feet set or his shoulders set. He could do all that in the air, okay? And just like, and he had this weird release. But, dude, it was automatic, okay? Anyway, back to our story. Miami Heat, Portland Trail Blazers, Golden State Warriors are in on Dame. I like Miami out of that cluster, and then Golden State. And I don't want him going back to Portland. I don't like that. San Antonio's been mentioned, okay? You have De'Aaron Fox. San Antonio's becoming one of these teams, too. They're mentioned for everybody, all right? They've got assets. They've got Wemby. They're sexy, blah, 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 blah. I don't see Dame going to San Antonio. I don't think San Antonio needs Dame, okay? You just drafted Dylan Harper. He needs the rock. Vassell needs the rock. Castle needs the rock. Fox needs the rock. Wemby needs the rock. You got too many guys already, okay? No. Phoenix, yes. Phoenix would be phenomenal for Damian Lillard. Booker would move off the 1. He'd go back to being a 2. Booker, by the way, is going to have a phenomenal fantasy season. Oh, my God, I can't be higher on Devin Booker this year. He's going to get all the stats. He's going to be their point. He might go 30 points and 8 assists. I'm telling you, Devin Booker's going off this upcoming season. My only concern is if Phoenix sucks and they tank and they shut him down late. There is that. But I do like Phoenix as a landing spot for Damian Lillard. The Athletic also has added the Celtics and Lakers, and I guess to a degree they're obligatory as well, okay? The Celtics make sense. Just traded Drew Holiday. And obviously to go get Damian Lillard in sort of a punt year for them When it's a punt year for Dame, that marries. And then when Tatum comes out of his injury, Lillard will be coming out of his injury, and you can really crank it up for the 26-27 season. So, yes, I do think Damian Lillard to Boston makes sense. The Lakers, of course, the Lakers are listed here. I don't know. Where does he fit? Is Bron on the team? Do they trade Bron to Dallas and maybe try to go get Damian Lillard? I don't know how that looks. But again, the Lakers and the Miami Heat, it's the Western version of it and the Eastern version of it. They're literally mentioned with every available player every single time. It's clockwork. It's like the sun rising in the morning. And yeah, it's kind of annoying. All right, let's get into some signings here. So we'll watch the Dame sweepstakes, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll give you an answer. Out of that group, where do I want Dame to go? Let me pick a team. You know what? I want Dame to go to Golden State. If I like the hometown return thing, I like him merging with Curry. I'm going to tell you something right now. Steve Kerr has ruined the Warriors for me. Jimmy Butler has just ruined me on him, and now he's a Warrior. So I don't like, and Draymond, like they're a tough team for me. I appreciate Draymond, but there's a lot of stuff that he does that's just asinine and so over the top and so stupid and so lame that, stomping out Sabonis, choking out Gobert, dude, you lost me. I'm not a violence guy. I don't like watching UFC. I'm not an MMA guy. I don't I'll watch a fight like boxing. I do like a big prize fight. But MMA and these guys and these ladies and they're beating the shit out of each other and blood splattering everywhere. I'm not into it, man. I'm not into it. I don't like the violence thing. All right. So Draymond, is into the violence thing. That's a disconnect with me and him. If Damian Lillard goes to the Warriors, I will like them again. They will become likable for me again. So Dame to the Warriors. That's my call. All right, let's get into some signings here. Miles Turner, and we talked about this yesterday, but I just want to give you another take on this. And it does, the Bucks they're like the Rockets of the East. The Bucks have been super busy. They've got a ton of green and red on my depth chart. Red is a move or a new contract. Green is a rookie. And they got a ton of different colors. They've been super busy. Will it work? I don't know. To a degree, it will. But Miles Turner, 4 years and 107, leaves Indiana. They're now screwed at the center position. And, you've got Bradley. You've got Isaiah Jackson. I don't know what else you're going to have there. Maybe you bring back Thomas Bryant. It's just a massive hit to Indiana. I don't know why they let him go. I won't belabor the point. The Bucks are going to be a factor in the East. And I think Miles Turner is going to have a terrific fantasy year. His numbers are going to look just like they did in Indiana. Because he's going to be in a role very similar to what he was doing, a role very similar to what Brook Lopez played for them. So I'm not worried about a stat dip or anything like that. I think Miles Turner is going to be Miles Turner. He's going to be fine there. They're not paying him that money to get less of Miles Turner. I promise you that. The Bucks are going to be a top 16. They might be a top 14. Okay. They may even generate some buzz and some hype. Nobody in the East is beating the New York Knicks. I can tell you this right now. Getting Yabusele and getting Clarkson, forget about it. The Knicks are winning the East. Lock it up. Could the Bucks be the second best team in the East? I guess. I like what Orlando's got going more than Milwaukee. Anyway, they're going to be a factor. They're relevant. They're alive. Okay. And the Dame transaction, which I ultimately don't disagree with, or I ultimately do disagree with, but they've gone the way they've gone, and they are going to be a relevant team. They're going to be a maybe fringe contender. Okay, so you have that. Giannis is not going to request a trade now. This is obviously all a plan. Now, with the front office, I'm not saying Giannis has been in concert with the entire layout of this plan, because we found out that Giannis didn't like the, waiving of Damian Lillard. But bringing back Bobby Portis, bringing back Taurean Prince, bringing back Gary Trent Jr., bringing back Kevin Porter Jr. I promise you Giannis was in concert with all of that. And hey, Giannis, you want to play with Miles Turner? Giannis was brought in on that as well. Was he brought in on the Dame thing? Well, maybe not. Or maybe he was brought in on the Dame thing and he didn't like it then, and the team went and did it anyway, and then it came out through Chris Haynes that Giannis still didn't like it. Maybe that's how that went. But the Bucks are going for it. And in that way, I do find some logic and some reason in because they're going for it. I love teams that go for it, okay? If they wanted to take a punt year, like Boston seems to be doing with the Dame injury, that's fine too. But if you want to be aggressive and stay alive and go for it, I do see merits in that, okay? I would not have sacrificed 5 years of my books to do that, but that's what they did. And there is a piece of appreciation for that. Now, the Bucs have made other moves, and this one I like. And this has major fantasy relevance. The Bucs traded Pat Connaughton and 2 second-round picks. Doc Rivers, I say this sarcastically, Doc Rivers hates Pat Connaughton. He doesn't hate Pat Connaughton, but he didn't like Brooke Lopez. He didn't like Pat Con. Like they fell out of favor with him. So and Pat Con picked up like the $9 million option on his contract, which is so awesome. Doc was like, please, please, please decline that option. Oh my God, please. And Pat Con's like, man, I ain't leaving $9 million on the table, bro. Give me that. Give me that bag, yo. And then Doc was like, next thing smoking, and you're going to Charlotte. Woo! Said no one. I'm kidding. It's the Queen City. Charlotte's an amazing city. All right, on with our story here. Vasi Micic is going to Milwaukee. He didn't have it last year. Last year was weird. The year before, he had some nice fantasy moments. We were kind of getting busy with him a little bit over here. All right. I have a maybe hot take for you. I believe Vasi Micic is going to start over Kevin Porter Jr. Do you guys agree? Maybe a Twitter poll is required here. Andre, how do you see that? I would love to know that. Andre Lemouche, our outstanding producer, brilliant basketball mind, Mr. International Basketball. He's got the whole dossier on Vasi Micic. I promise you, Andre could tell you where Vasi Micic was playing when he was 13 years old. Like, he was with Ryolem Farm in Germany or something. Like, I promise he knows the whole bio on Vasi Micic. Okay. What Doc Rivers showed us last year is that he liked Kevin Porter Jr. off the bench and that he really didn't fully trust Kevin Porter Jr. And think about this. Vasi Micic was just traded for. You gave up a player you didn't want and 2 assets for him, and Vasi Micic is making about $8 million. He's making more money than Kevin Porter Jr., who's at like 5.5 on a 2-year and $11 million deal. Okay. The money finds the floor. Vasi Micic is more of a veteran than Kevin Porter Jr. Vasi Micic is more of a true point guard than Kevin Porter Jr. I have a feeling that this is going to be an annoying buzzkillish timeshare in fantasy basketball. And I have a feeling that our excitement for Kevin Porter Jr. a day ago has been largely washed away here with the trade of Micic. I now see a 2-headed monster at that point guard spot in Milwaukee. And I'm no longer super high on Kevin Porter Jr. because this speaks again to the lack of trust that Doc has in him, that you're not just unleashing him at point guard, you're going out and trading for Vasi Micic, who's a stopgap type of guy entering the final year of his deal. And no, Pat Connaughton does not fit in Charlotte, and I believe they will buy him out. Maybe they already have. He's on like my 5th string on my depth chart for Charlotte. He does not fit with them at all. All right, Milwaukee also picks up Gary Harris. A good pickup, 2nd-year guy, vet, makes the corner 3. He's a defender. He's an OG at this point. Good pickup. I like it. Jericho Sims, he'll be their 3rd string center there in Milwaukee on a 2-year deal. All right, more moves. Jakob Poeltl for the Toronto Raptors gets 4 years and $104 million. This one took me by surprise a little bit. Think about it. Miles Turner just got 4 and 107. Jakob Poeltl got 4 and 104. That's an overpay, man. Like, Jakob Poeltl to me is about a $20 million a year big. 4 years, $80 million. This is an overpay by Toronto. I do not like this contract. They were bidding against themselves here. Nobody in the NBA is going to pay Jakob Poeltl 104 over 4. There's no way. I will die on this hill. I will bleed out on this hill, Andre Lemouche, about this one. No, and I like Jakob Poeltl. I do. I think he's solid. I think he's underrated. Okay. Walking double-double, good block steal guy. I like Jakob Poeltl. I mess with him in fantasy, all that. Okay. No, he should not be getting Miles Turner money. He should not be making, I'm not even sure he should be making more than Danny Gafford. I'm not. I'm just saying. 4 and what? Good for him, though, man. This speaks, though. It makes me feel better about Poeltl in fantasy, and it makes me feel better about the Raptors this season. This is kind of a go-for-it move. Why are you signing Poeltl to a 4 and 104? I'm in my NFL depth chart right now. Let me get back to my NBA one. I got to look at Toronto here real quick. I actually think Toronto might not suck. I want to say something stronger, but I can't because they're Toronto. Jakob Poeltl, I like. Scotty Barnes, I love. Brandon Ingram, you already know. He's going to play 40 games. RJ Barrett, I like. Emmanuel Quickly, I like. Your starting five is Quickly, Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, Poeltl. Guys, that doesn't suck. It doesn't. That's a good starting five. Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji, Jonathan Mobo. Could you Shed as your third point guard, and yeah, maybe you go get a Russell Westbrook. I don't know. I don't know if Russ wants to play in Canada, but like a little upgrade there. But I'm just saying, I think they can make a little PIT move here. But if you're paying Jakob Poeltl 4 and 104, it's a little bit of a go for it move. They picked up Sandro Mamukilishvili, 2 years, $5.5 million. He will be the third string center, possibly the second string center over Mobo, but I think Mobo will keep that spot. Could be a training camp competition. The Denver Nuggets are one of the big winners of this offseason. I love what they've done. I don't know who their GM is. I don't know. I know it's not Calvin Booth, and I know Michael Malone's not the guy, and I know that now David Adelman's the guy. What do we got here? What? Micic likely to be bought out? Are you serious right now? What is going on? Giannis was part of the recruiting of Miles Turner. Andre's giving me some information here. He says Micic likely to be bought out. Like, if Andre's saying it, like, I got to go with it, but that doesn't really sound right to me. Like, Micic can play. They need another point guard. He's $8 million a year, expiring deal. Like, why would you buy that guy out? That doesn't really make sense to me. Bobby Marks said that as well. I don't know, though, because they sort of paid 2 seconds to get him. So let's wait and see. All right, so maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. I'm working under the premise that Micic is going to be on this roster, and if something else happens, then something else happens, and we will certainly react to it and give you the goodies here. The Denver Nuggets, guys, the Denver Nuggets are back. They are. Guys, think about this. Indiana gave OKC their toughest challenge, 7 games, and toe-to-toe in Game 7, before the Hallie injury. Don't forget, Denver took SGA and OKC to 7 games, and they got obliterated in Game 7, but they took them to 7 games. Okay, that speaks to Denver still has championship DNA. Denver is still in this. Will they beat OKC? I don't think so. But injuries happen, stuff happens. You never know. But let me take you through Denver's roster here. Okay, I'll start with their second unit. Jonas Valanciunas, and I'll get to this trade, but Jonas Valanciunas is now the backup to Jokic. Jonas is probably the best backup 5 in the entire NBA. He's a starting caliber player for sure, and he's a bench player now. That's a huge win for Denver. Deron Holmes, can't stop talking about him. Love him. He's going to have after a rehab rookie year, he's going to be a big part of the plan this year, and he's going to get rotational minutes. Peyton Watson will get rotational minutes. Fine player, obviously. Tim Hardaway Jr. Will be your sort of 3-point gunner off the bench. An upgrade over Strother, okay? And Bruce Brown will be your jack of all trades, zippy, hustle, juice guy like Westbrook was last year. Your bench is Valanciunas, Deron Holmes, Peyton Watson, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Bruce Brown. It's one of the best benches in the NBA, okay? And then you've got Jokic, Gordon, Cam Johnson, Brown, and Murray. One of the best starting 5s in the NBA. Denver is going to win 55, 56 games. They're going to have a badass season, okay? They may be second in the West to OKC. As I look at it right now, Minnesota, Denver, and OKC are the cream of the West. And I'll throw Houston in there as well. That's your big 4 in the West. I know Lakers. What about the Lakers? Shut up about the Lakers. I mean, my God, I can't stop hearing about the Lakers. There's 29 other teams that need love too, okay? I'm just kidding, Laker fans. I love your team too. But, I mean, the Lakers, they are so headline dominant. It's kind of crazy. All right, let's move into this trade. It's the Fantasy NBA today with your boy, Rick Kamla. Hello! What's up? Duncan Robinson has a new team, and he's in Detroit, Rock City. It's a great Kiss song. It is kind of a funky, groovy Kiss song. I like that one. Duncan Robinson, sign and trade with Simone Fontecchio going down to Miami, and 3 years and $48 million for Duncan Robinson. I'm a Duncan Robinson guy. I mean, I don't love him. I don't have a poster on my wall or a fat head of Duncan Robinson. It's not like that. But I appreciate Duncan Robinson. He is one of the elite three-point shooters in this game. Miami treated his contract. Remember, it was $5 and $90. They hated the contract as soon as they signed it. It reminded me of when the Hawks gave John Collins $5 and $125. They didn't want to do it. They did it. They immediately hated it, and they couldn't wait to trade him or get him off the team after that. And John Collins is in the final year of that contract this year. He picked up his option with Utah. By the way, I pumped my fist when Johnny Collins did that. I like John, forged a little bit of a relationship with him in Atlanta in my time there. Great guy. I love John Collins. And I think he's a really, really underrated talent in this league. But the Hawks hated that contract. Miami hated the Duncan Robinson contract. Miami finally has gotten off of that contract. And now Duncan Robinson is a Piston, 3 years and 48. I want to tell you something right now. Duncan Robinson is one of the best players I have ever seen at staying paid. This guy comes off of 5 and 90 onto a 3 and 48. All right. And he's really a one-trick pony out there. This guy, I mean, Duncan Robinson's agent needs to go to the Hall of Fame of agents, man. I'm telling you right now. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Duncan Robinson signed a 3-year, $24 million deal, $8 million a year. Dude, my man, what's 48 divided by 3? What is that? Oh my God, that's $16 million a year. Duncan Robinson's at 60. I mean, think about that. That's an overpay. I mean, that's an overpay. I would say that right now. But Duncan Robinson's great at staying paid. And look, Malik Beasley is in it. God bless that man. And the Pistons now have their Beasley replacement. Okay. I thought maybe that Karis LeVert was the Beasley replacement. No, Karis LeVert was just a badass bench piece. The Beasley replacement, the knockdown three-point shooter off the bench, is Duncan Robinson. Okay. Boom. I like it, you guys. And like Miami, Duncan Robinson was the in case of emergency break glass guy in Miami. You needed like 3 injuries for Duncan Robinson to find the floor in Miami. That ain't going to be a problem in Detroit. No. He is going to be a very prominent member of that rotation. Is he going to be their 6th man? I don't know about that. I kind of look at Karis LeVert and Isaiah Stewart in more a little bit higher priority. But I would say, he's in their top 8. You got Ron Holland and Marcus Sasser. But he's in their primary 8-man rotation. There's going to be 20 minutes a game there for Duncan Robinson. And I really like the move for Detroit. They have gotten better in this offseason. You pick up LeVert and you pick up Duncan Robinson. You say goodbye to Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. Frankly, overall, that's an upgrade for Detroit. You bring back Paul Reed at 2 and 11 to be your 3rd-string center, which is a good move. I mean, I like B-ball Paul, especially if he's your 3rd-string center. You're very, very deep at that spot. So Detroit's roster is bad to the bone, and they are going to for sure be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. The Heat, to me, with this they think they're moving laterally, right? We'll just ship out Duncan Robinson. We'll bring in another 3-point guy in Simone Fontecchio. Simone Fontecchio can't drill it like Duncan Robinson, and I like Fontecchio. I think he's a pretty good player, pretty good 3-point shooter. Duncan Robinson's like different. He's a notch above. So this is a downgrade for the Miami Heat, in my opinion. The Kings and Nugs came together on a deal where Valanciunas goes to Denver. Already talked about that. Dario Saric goes from Denver to Sacramento, so he will actually play this year. And Drew Eubanks signed a 1-year deal with the Kings will sign a 1-year deal with the Kings after he clears waivers. Also, Dennis Schroeder got 3 years and $45 million. I thought that money was crazy. Crazy. $15 million a year for a backup point guard. Tyus Jones got $7 million a year on a 1-year contract. Is Dennis Schroeder better than Tyus Jones? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I kind of look at them as similar guys. They have different games, but they're really good backup point guards. That's an overpay, man. Oh, shocking. No way. Sacramento made a bad financial personnel decision. Mike, I can't believe it. You could knock me over with a feather. I mean, stop it. They just mistake after 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 mistake. I mean, trading JV for Dario Saric, mistake. Valanciunas is way better than Dario Saric. It's not even close. And he's on a pretty good contract. 3-year, $30 million contract, 2 years left at $10 million a year for Jonas Valanciunas. Hello. Hell yeah. It's the Kings being the Kings. The Kings are always going to suck and be mediocre because they're the gosh darn Kings. Okay. That's one cuss word I will not say. Denver's having a killer offseason. We talked about this. Sacramento has found their backup 5 and 4. Okay. Eubanks will be the backup 5 and Sarge will be the backup 4. And I like that. I like Eubanks. Energy big. He's a pogo stick guy. High energy guy. I like Eubanks. I F with Eubanks. And Saric, I don't know what's left of his game. I presume there's something left in his game. So he'll be the backup 4. It doesn't look like Trey Lyles is going to be back in Sacramento. Larry Nance Jr., a player I like, has gone to Cleveland. Great move by the Cavaliers. Dean Wade will now, I've got him down at power forward now. Nance is the backup center. DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill. I'm not sure who their backup point guard is going to be. It looks like it's going to be Craig Porter Jr. That could change throughout this offseason. Garland is not going to start the season on time. Obviously, your starting 5 is going to be Lonzo Ball, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen. Larry Nance Jr. is a really good get, I think, for Cleveland's bench. I like him. He's a terrific bench player. He defends. He makes some threes. He's an energy guy. He's disruptive in the paint. He just does a lot of different things. He's a competitive guy, and everybody likes Larry Nance Jr. I think it's a good get for Cleveland. I really do. Kind of when no one's watching, you just kind of go, little Larry Nance Jr. I dig it. Trey Mann, a player I like a lot, very underrated guy, needs a bigger role. I really want to see what that looks like. It's not going to happen because he re-signed with Charlotte, 3 years, $24 million. Guys, I want to take you through Charlotte's depth chart. Okay, I just talked about Toronto a little bit, right? Like they're starting 5 heavy, and then it really kind of dissipates as you go to their bench. I would not say that about Charlotte. I like Toronto starting 5 more than Charlotte's, and I think if these teams want to get plucky and kind of aggressive, they're going to be battling each other for play-in tournament positioning, right? I see upside with both of these teams, especially in what looks like it could be a wide open East this year. Your center position, I'm not crazy about. Moussa Diabate, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Mason Plumlee. Not crazy about that. It's maybe the worst center room in the entire NBA. But Miles Bridges, Grant Williams, Tajon Salon is your 3-pack of power forward. Like them all. Brandon Miller, Josh Green, Seth Curry at the 3. Con Knipple, Trey Mann now back up 2. Nick Smith back up 3rd string 2. Again, you see the depth here. Lonzo Ball, Colin Sexton behind him, KJ Simpson behind him. I mean, your second unit right now is Kalkbrenner, Grant Williams, Josh Green, Trey Mann, and Colin Sexton. That's a pretty damn good second unit. It really is. I like Sexton a lot. I like Mann a lot. Josh Green's a terrific 3-and-D guy. Grant Williams is Grant Williams. He's an irritant. He makes threes. He defends. I don't know about you guys. I like Grant Williams, okay? And this is the second unit. Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller, Lonzo Ball. You got the shooter and Con Knipple. And, they'll mishmash it and get a committee going at center. I see upside here. I do. I don't see them as a 500 team, but I see them if they want with this group, you can make a run at the play-in tournament. So I'm kind of feeling the lower teams in the East, Charlotte and Toronto. I got my eye on those teams. Eric Gordon's back with the 76ers on a 1-year deal. And really all this does is it kicks, to me, Ricky Council to the 3rd string, and Eric Gordon will be a backup wing for Philly this year, but they like him and they're going to pay him. And then finally here, Josh Minott, 2 years and $5 million to the Boston Celtics. He was released, whatever, by the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that they declined his option. So the Celtics picked him up. He'll be a deep bench player for them, and it really doesn't matter a whole lot. All right, with the time we have left here, and I'll do this in a little bit of rapid fire style. Later on in the summer, like me and Doc may get into this, but this is kind of my list, and it's ever evolving. Like with each move, I update my list here. And actually moves have created changes where a guy I saw as a fantasy loser, and then I was like, no, I like it now, and he's a winner. So it's a real subject to change deal, but this is what I got right now in no particular order. All right, Ace Bailey is a big winner with Jordan Clarkson bought out and Colin Sexton traded. Ace Bailey's a huge winner. I see him starting with Utah. I think there's going to be fantasy goodies there. Walter Clayton Jr. now will be the backup 2 in Utah, and he's not going to be fantasy relevant, but he was like going to be the 4th string 2 guard, and now he's the 2nd string 2 guard. So that's a win. Jean Berenguer. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. It's Berenger, like to us dumb Americans, but it's Berenguer because he's French and you say it differently, right? But he's now the backup 5 to Rudy Gobert on my depth chart with Luka Garza now on the Boston Celtics. And you said, what about Naz Reid? I look at Naz as more of a 4. He does also play the 5, and look, Berenguer might not be in the rotation. Okay, so he might not be. But on my depth chart, I'm not going to put Naz Reid behind center and power forward, right? That's not how you do a depth chart. You pick a position and you put him there, right? So I'm not sure Berenguer is going to play. But right now, he's number 2 on my depth chart behind Rudy Gobert. Like, if God forbid, something happens to Gobert or Randall or Naz Reid, Berenguer is going to play a lot. All right, so that's a win. Garza getting out of there, and now Berenguer's got a better pathway to playing time. Davion Mitchell brought back to Miami, presumably going to start, and it's one of those things where you found a home. You found where you're productive. You found a team that values you and plays you and likes you, okay? Stay there. Nurture that. Because he bounced around, didn't work in SAC, didn't work in Toronto. He's not he's not a system-proof guy, right? He's not really a shooter, right? So it's got to be just the right fit. He's got to thread the needle, and he has threaded the needle, and they have maintained this for 2 more years. So that's a win. Cam Whitmore has to play this year, and I know he's the subject of trade rumors. I wouldn't trade him if I were Houston, but right now he's my backup 2 on my depth chart for Houston. Last year he couldn't even sniff the rotation. He should be a rotational guy this year, albeit not a great fantasy player. But that's a win for him. Yegor Demine, the 8th overall pick, the point guard for Brooklyn. I mean, they're not going out to get a veteran point guard. He is first up to bat, it appears, to be the starting point guard of the Nets. There could be fantasy goodies there, but being in that pole position is a fantasy win for him. Con Knippel. I don't think Charlotte took him 4th overall to have him be a bench player. I think they took him 4th overall because they know they need a Kyle Korver-esque gunner in their starting 5. So I believe he will start. That's a fantasy win. Number 1 is Donovan Clingan. He is the biggest fantasy winner of the offseason. And this is draft, this is trades, this is free agency, this is all of it, okay? He is the biggest winner with the DeAndre Ayton buyout of all. Donovan Clingan season is on and popping. Yang Hansen, the rookie 16th overall pick that was mysterious to a lot of people with Portland. He's a winner here because of the DeAndre Ayton buyout, and presumably Robert Williams will be like bought out or sent out in a trade or something like that. DeAndre Ayton is a fantasy winner here. If he goes to the Lakers and he's playing with LeBron James is going to hold him way more accountable than he has ever been held accountable. And that's what DeAndre Ayton needs. He needs a boot in the butt, okay? He's a chronic underachiever. He needs somebody to light a flame under his damn ass so he can go out there and start playing some ball, okay, and playing hard. He does not play hard. He plays. He goes through the motions. He goes out there and gets his double-double, and that's good enough for him. That ain't going to be good enough for Bron, okay? So that's a fantasy win if he goes to the Lakers and he's got LeBron James like going, hold on a second. LeBron might not even be there, yo. LeBron may be a Mav. But if he's a Laker, that take should be true. Kelly Oubre, I told you, he should pick up the option on his contract because, like Davion Mitchell, he's on a team that likes him, values him, plays him. Nick Nurse loves Kelly Oubre, plays the crap out of him. He's going to start. Yes, go back to that, dude. And so he picked up the $8 million option. That's a fantasy win for him. Jabari Smith in Houston getting the 5 and 122. Dylan Brooks out of there. Jabari Smith's going to be in the starting 5. He is one of the biggest winners of this offseason for me as well. Jalen Green going from Houston to Phoenix. His numbers are going up, folks, as the number 2 option there. Jordan Poole, numbers aren't going to like freak out in New Orleans, but I believe they're going to stay where they were at Washington, maybe even be a little bit better. I think they like Jordan Poole. They see something. That's why they made that move. I could see an uptick in Anthony Simons this year in Boston if they keep him, because you don't have Drew, you don't have Porzingis, you're not going to have Tatum, you're going to have Brown and White, and you're going to need another guy that's scoring 15 to 20 points a game. And I think Anthony Simons could possibly even score more than Derek White. Derek White is like a jack of all trades guy. Anthony Simons is a scorer. Okay. So maybe like he becomes the second option and Derek White's like 19, 5-5 with all the other goodies, right? I could see Anthony Simons outscoring Derek White this year just because of Derek White's unselfishness and just the overall role, all the defense he's going to have to play. He's got so much on his plate. I feel like the second scoring option may be a little bit more of a comfortable role for Anthony Simons. That's a win for him because that wasn't going to happen in Portland. Colin Sexton to me. You're in Utah. Utah never goes anywhere. They're shutting guys down, blah, blah, blah. You're in Charlotte. I don't think Charlotte's going to shut him down. I think Charlotte's going to try to make the play-in tournament. And I think Sexton's going to have a nice roll off that bench. And LaMelo Ball is going to play half the games. And in the other half of the game, Sexton's going to start. Okay. So I think Sexton's actually going to have a pretty damn good season. Fred VanVleet. If Fred VanVleet, Houston declines his option, let's say Fred VanVleet is now a free agent. Okay. Who is really psyched out there to go get Fred VanVleet? There wouldn't have been that many teams. Okay. So staying where you are, you know your role, you're going to have good stats and all this kind of stuff. It's a win for him that there's not going to be some downturn and you're not going to be sent out kind of like Russell Westbrook right now. He's kind of like a man without a boat. James Harden, same exact thing. The uncertainty, the unknown of going to maybe another team. No, you don't want to deal with that. Stay right where you are. You were an all-star last year. Big win for Harden. So far, Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. Miami has not added anybody else. They're still the top dogs down there, okay? And Miami's trying to make all these moves. That's a win for Bam and Hero and fantasy, that they're still the top dogs down there. Devin Booker with Kevin Durant going to Houston, okay? Devin Booker is one of my favorite players in fantasy ball this year. I love him. I'm going to try to get him on every single one of my teams. We are going to see a massive spike year from Devin Booker because he's going to have to do everything. Drew Holiday. I think Drew Holiday is going to have better stats in Portland. I think they're going to give him more of everything. I do, because he's the vet coming in. Like in Boston, he could get lost in the shuffle of the Whites and the Tatums and the Browns and the Porzingises and all that kind of stuff. I don't think he's going to get lost in the shuffle there in Portland because Jeremy Grant's not a volume shooter. Tamani Kamar's not a volume shooter. Denny Abdi is not even a volume shooter. And then your center's Donovan Clingan. He's going to be catching lobs and stuff. I think Drew Holiday could get closer to the Milwaukee Drew Holiday than the Boston Drew Holiday out there in Portland. I do see a little bit of a renaissance happening here with Drew Holiday. Bub Carrington, it looks like he has survived and he's going to stay the starting point guard for Washington. That's a win. Cam Johnson, he's no longer on a shitty team. He's going to Denver. He's going to put up similar stats, but there's not going to be the potential for shutdowns and tanking and all of that. D'Lo is a winner, going as the starting point guard for Dallas until Kyrie Irving is ready. But D'Lo looks like a bench player to me right now, and he's going to start to begin the season. That's a fantasy win for him. Santi Aldama, the contract, the Zach Edey injury, the Jaren Jackson Jr. injury, like it's all coming up aces for Santi Aldama. Bruce Brown goes from wherever the hell he last played, New Orleans, we know this now, to Denver. They're going to have a great role for him. That's a big win for him. Luke Cornett, and you say, how could this be a win? He's backing up Wemby. I'm going to leave it at that. Like, he's backing up Wemby. I just think that's a dope gig. He could have been the starting center in Boston, had better stats, but I don't know. I just like it. I think maybe I'm blending reality and fantasy a little bit too much here because I really like that get for San Antonio. All right, screw it. I'll parse it. It's a fantasy loss. It's a reality win. All right, sorry I brought him up. Gary Trent Jr., minor fantasy winner, staying in the same spot, same role. Jordan Clarkson, big-time fantasy winner. He's going to be shot out of a cannon in New York. Right now, he's my pick for sixth man of the year. I haven't done like strict evaluation on it. Looked at, rosters are still under construction. But right now, as we sit, I feel like Jordan Clarkson's in the pole position for sixth man of the year. Ty Jerome, down with Memphis. That's a win for me. Here's why it's a win. Ja Morant, like LaMelo Ball, hates the game, hates to play, and so he'll play half the games, and so Ty Jerome's going to get like 40 starts. That's a big win for him. I had Misic written down here, but with this possibility of him getting bought out, I'll not do that anymore. Jakob Poeltl, 4 and 104. It like solidifies everything. That's a fantasy win for him. Tim Hardaway Jr. going to Denver, fantasy win for him. Duncan Robinson going to Detroit, fantasy win for him. Sarge and Eubanks going to Sac. They now have roles, okay? They won't be fantasy relevant, but they were going to be like deep, not even playing bench players. Now they'll be second stringers with Sac. Those are the winners. All right, Andre's giving me some breaking news here. Being reported, the Pacers are under consideration for DeAndre Ayton as a new realistic landing spot. The Pacers, once upon a time, wanted him when he was with the Phoenix Suns. This makes sense. This may be why Indiana let Miles Turner go, because they feel like they're going to get DeAndre Ayton at a cheaper price. Now, that's a very dangerous game. Miles Turner is way better than DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton can't do two things that Miles Turner can do: make threes and block shots. He does neither of those things. And you kind of sort of need your center to do those things these days, but that does make sense. Andre says right now looks like it's between Lakers and Pacers. Ayton clears waivers today at 5 p.m. Lakers have held talks with the Suns about Nick Richards. Gambo said the Suns have gotten calls on Nick Richards from several teams. Not sure if they would move him. They do like him, and he would be good insurance for Mark Williams. Should they keep him? They don't need Nick Williams, bro. You have Maluach. Maluach ready to go, bro. Yo, Gambo, holla at your boy about Maluach. Holler at Andre about Maluach. We'll give you the goods, bro. Maluach is going to be better than Nick Richards, man. I'm telling you. He's better shot blocker, more upside. Come on, bro. Trade Nick Richards. Unleash this young fella. Because right now, and it's a good segue to my fantasy losers, Maluach, I'll start with him. Okay, this should be a cherry spot for him, backing up Mark Williams. He's their third string guy right now. You have Mark Williams, you have Nick Richards, and you have Common Maluach. It's one of the best center rooms in the entire league. Okay, but that's a loss for Maluach. That means he's not going to play as a rookie unless they trade Nick Richards. PJ Washington, the Cooper Flag edition ruined him in Dallas. They now need to trade him. Derek Lively, because Dallas paid Danny Gafford, and so now you'll have Gaffley again this year. These are fantasy losers, okay? It doesn't mean I won't draft them necessarily. I'll still draft Lively, but it'll be super late. PJ Washington's off my board right now. Maluach is off my board right now based on roster construction as we speak, and it's all subject to change. Tari Eason, fantasy loser. He'll be a bench player. You're so deep now. They need him less now than they've ever needed him. And so I still think he's going to play a prominent bench role, but that's all it's going to be, is a prominent bench role. And he still probably won't be playing back-to-backs. Naz Reid is a fantasy loser. Naz Reid could have gone to a team where they unleashed him, gave him 34 minutes, started him, gave him a whole bunch of shots. He's going back to Minnesota. It's going to be more of same. And he's going to put up good stats, but we're not going to get any kind of spike from Naz Reid. It's going to be the same stuff. That's a loss for me. Either a Kongwu or a Risashe are taking an L here. And I don't know who. I have a feeling it's going to be a Kongwu. I think Risashe is going to stay in the starting five, and a Kongwu will be the backup to Porzingis for, again, half the year, and he'll start half the games that Porzingis misses. You brought in Asa Newell. You brought in Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So you have a thick bench now, and they have a lot of options. But to me, I think a Kongwu is going to be the guy that takes the fantasy L here. Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs, okay? They're all going to take a fantasy L here because of the Bane addition, which is phenomenal in reality. And in fantasy, it kind of jams up the team a little bit. Bane's numbers are going to come down because he's got a share now. Wagner, the shot volume was off the charts last year. That's not going to be the case this year. And Jalen Suggs is not going to average 16 a game. As the fourth option on this team, okay? So all three of those players are going to take a fantasy hit because of the addition of Bane. Bradley Beal, it looks like, is going to be sent home by the Phoenix Suns and, like, not play this year while he gets paid, okay? That's obviously a big loss. Like, if you're just sent home by your team because they can't trade you and they don't want to buy you out. Scoot Henderson. This is a loss, guys. With Drew Holiday being traded there, he will start. Scoot, again, will be a bench player. Shaden Sharp, again, will be a bench player. He's taking an L right now. Keegan Murray is taking an L because there won't be any kind of spike. You still have Levine and DeRozan and Sabonis and Monk, and so it's an L for Keegan. Keon Ellis takes an L. Same reason. Dylan Harper takes a fantasy L. He'll be a bench player as the second overall pick. And we all love him, fantastic player, but his role is not going to be juicy for fantasy basketball. It's not. They have a very deep bench. Sohan's off their bench. Keldon Johnson's off their bench. Champagne's off their bench. They got a ton of guys, man. Who's their backup point guard? Why am I blanking on San Antonio's backup point guard right now? I can get you that in 1 second. It is, they don't have one. Wow. Okay, that's why I'm blanking on it. My depth chart right now, Cornette, Sohan, Harper, Keldon. That's your second unit. Backup one is vacant. And then it's Bassey, Champagnie, Carter Bryant, Branham, and Blake Wesley as my third unit for San Antonio. Obviously, it's Wemby, Barnes, Vassell, Castle, and Fox. First unit, that is a rock star roster, ladies and gentlemen. All right, more fantasy losers here as we try to stay on time. And we will, because I don't have that many guys left. Julian Champagnie and Justin Champagnie. The Champagnies are both taking L's. Keldon Johnson taking an L here. Michael Porter Jr. going to a horrible, probably tanking team where he probably won't finish the year. It's all bad news. Scottie Pippen Jr. With the Ty Jerome thing, that's bad news for him. Clint Capella, a third-string center right now. Brooke Lopez goes from a starter to a backup with the Clippers. These are all fantasy losses. And if the Bucks keep Vasi Micic, Kevin Porter Jr. Will be a fantasy loser as well. There you have it. There you have it, folks. The signings, the injuries. We're rocking the Marshall Faulk jersey, and we gave you some fantasy winners and losers. All right, couple of reminders before we get out of here. Guys, we have this app. It's the Sports Ethos app. I think my favorite word is free. Is that your guys' favorite word? Free. Free is a great word, right? Well, it's free. Okay, go to your favorite app store and download the Sports Ethos app. It's free. We've got comprehensive blurbs constantly hitting the wire for NFL, MLB, and our beloved NBA. All right, so it's a great fantasy tool for you, and we want you to download that now. Again, it's free. Also, go to sportsethos.com. Subscribe to our work. The Fantasy Football Draft Guide is out right now. It's absolutely phenomenal. As a part of it, I'm doing college football fantasy rankings. It's the Wild Wild West. It's a great chance for you to monetize, okay? And dive into college football fantasy and experiment with it. Your boy will shepherd you through. I'm the GOAT of this, okay? If I lose, I'm losing in the championship game. I've got this college football fantasy thing figured out. I'm also very, very, very elite at NFL fantasy as well. So the NFL Draft Guide is out there. It's not expensive, guys. Spend a little bit of cash. We're going to help you win leagues. We're going to help you win cash leagues. We're going to help you win DFS. We're going to help you win. Okay, sportsethos.com. Want to remind you as well, please subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast. We would really appreciate that. And again, the Fantasy Football Draft Guide, it's the best in the biz, sportsethos.com. Big shout out to Algorithm Andre, AI Andre GPT. I got a new one. Andre 007. I got a new one. I got it because I don't know what Andre does in the middle of the night, but I have a feeling it's some big time stuff, man. Andre 007. So I got that one in there as well. And all of you, I love you guys. And for Doc and for Brew, because I'm kind of rocking solo here. It's a different week for us, but I'm enjoying the hell out of this. We'll see you again on Thursday. Okay. Live. And we're going to be going through all 30 teams, all the moves that they've made in sort of a summarization type of form. It's going to be a badass show, and that will hit at 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday morning right here. And again, on sportsethos.com and on the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed. I'm Rick Kamla. Really appreciate you guys watching. This show's been brought to you by Bet Online, and I will see you soon.